Redditors, whatever happened to your school's class clown? He's representing Team Canada at this year's Summer Olympics in Rio. Honestly, I would have never expected that. Good for him, though. Oh. He lost a lot of weight his freshman year of college. Met back up with him recently at a gathering. Turns out he's either lost his humor or it was just the fat that made him funny. Is that even a thing? Kinda like if Eric Cartman was skinny, would he be as funny? You mean the Jonah Hill effect? Died in a car accident last Christmas. He was a good guy. Had a job as a carpenter if I remember correctly. We graduated high school in 2008. He was drinking, so he called an Uber to drive him to his girlfriend's house at 1 in the morning. While driving to his girlfriend's house, the Uber hit an oncoming car that was going the wrong way. One-way street. The Uber driver was the only person to survive. The other guy's car was in flames and I don't think they were able to prove if the guy was drunk or what. That's scary. You're supposed to call Uber so you don't get in a wreck. Sad. Went to an Ivy League school on a sports scholarship. He was pretty smart. Then went back to our high school to coach and tutor. Ended up getting in a relationship with a girl that he tutored. And will be in jail for a while for statutory rape. That went from happy to dark real quick. He's defending the honor of waitresses at an open mic near you. Last time I watched him perform, a drunk groped a waitress and he called out the douchebag from up on stage. Remember everyone. Cows are for milking and waitresses are for tipping. Yeah. The drunk heckled back. No. Looks like she loves you as much as Amy Winehouse loved rehab. After a fit of DUIs, got into culinary school and killed it as a chef. Had an offer to be a chef at a major hotel chain and relocate to Australia. Ended up moving to Washington and doing plumbing. Great guy. Mine was also my bully and the son of a math teacher in middle school. He was the Zach from Saved by the Bell and always had a Kelly on his arm. He would never get in trouble because his dad was a teacher. Fast forward and I meet him at a local car meetup where people would gather before running each other. He had the cool Mustang with a down-to-earth smoking hot girlfriend. He's now a professor at major university. He's that guy. That reads straight out of a 80s 90s movie. I imagine a kick butt soundtrack as well. I actually ran into him about 3 years ago. I was back in my hometown for Christmas, and I was at the mall buying some last minute stocking stuffers and whatnot. I saunter past the Hickory Farms booth, and wanting to buy some of those awesome peppermint candies, I stopped and noticed him, standing behind the counter, giving out free samples. I go up to him, and he recognizes me right away. I asked him how life was treating him, and he said, "Well, I'm 30 and I'm handing out sausage. How do you think it's going?" We endured an awkward pause you could drop an elephant into. I then proceeded to ratchet the cringe up to 11 when I asked him if he could sell me some peppermint candies, and he told me he's not allowed to work the register. He just hands out the sausage. He was always a very charming bastard. He then became a brilliant property developer and became very successful. When I told his 18-year-old daughter about his exploits, she knew that he was cloney at school. Overdosed on H. Died at 21. He was pretty wild, but an all-around okay guy. I had Sunday school with him through 8th grade, then one class in high school. 2 things I remember him doing. Asking our science teacher if she knew how to make M because it was a week after Breaking Bad premiered. She didn't know about it and he led her on for like 20 minutes. He also insisted that a sub who said mathematics actually said mathematics and was trying to sell us drugs. I don't remember the conclusion of that one. I think he took a dump on a paper plate and left it in the middle of the courtyard to protest the school banning senior pranks. I don't remember if it was confirmed that he did it. R.I.P. Jack Colin. The one in my class got into drugs in high school, got a girl pregnant senior year, married her and then, a couple of years later, poured gas over himself and lit himself on fire in front of his wife and daughter. We were good friends in junior high but drifted apart in high school, mostly because of the drugs. He was really a funny guy but had a lot of demons. Our middle school class clown had a kid with his high school girlfriend. I think he graduated high school, but he works at the Burger King near my home now. We're all around 23. He seems happy, so I'm happy for him. It was actually funny and tragic. He was doing a round off in a third floor apartment and crashed into a glass door. Fell to the ground and can't walk now. His words, "I can't feel my legs, but I still have my sense of humor. Strange guy, nice, but a little off. You can get a nude or what am I do about my legs, Charlie Murphy." I was voted class clown my junior year of high school. I finished college, have a good job, and I'm continuing the trend of tremendous college debt. He was on a hiking trip with his family and some friends when he fell off a waterfall and died. I miss that son of a b. He really was a cool dude. I just wish he at least had the chance to graduate. I grew up when I went to college. I still don't take life nearly as seriously as a lot of people. I still think I'm right about it. This is who you are. This is pretty tame, probably because it happened in the early 90s. We had a teacher, Mr. A, who was very strict, very serious, very high regard for himself, very Italian. This man rocked the thickest mustache I had ever seen. Nothing fancy, no handlebars or waxed works of art, just a full, glorious stache that Burt Reynolds would envy. We had been working with fun fur, thick and bushy fur, for an art project. Another kid and I jokingly made faux mustaches out of it and used double-sided tape to wear them. The art teacher, who was young and new to the profession, kinda sorta dared us to wear them to Mr. A's class. We went one step further. We made mustaches for everyone. Mr. A typically strode into the classroom with disregard for all of us until he had written whatever was important for that day on the board. Somehow a class full of dumbass 9th graders managed to keep our heads down and not laugh. We waited for that moment when he turned to face us. It could not have been more perfect. The absolute stunned look on his face, followed by the loudest, not laugh, but straight out guffaw. He loved it and insisted we keep them on for the whole class. I'm sure everyone has something funnier, wilder, grosser, whatever, but almost 20 years later and that moment is still clear as day in my memory. That's a really good story. D. Story time. Freshman year there was a guy in my Spanish class named Marty. Marty wasn't the best student and was failing a bunch of classes. Our final exam was taken with one of those small Scantron sheets with the bubbles. Finals were 2 hours long and you weren't allowed to leave early. 30 minutes or so into the exam, Marty holds up his Scantron sheet and proclaims, "Look, I wrote my name." Sure enough, Marty was spelled out in the bubbles. He got up, dropped his test on the proctor's desk, and left. We never saw him again. One of our class clowns. We had several. It was a golden time. I think I got a six-pack just by laughing so hard every day. Handed in his history exam after 5 minutes with only the words "Ich kann nicht, ich will nicht, ich will nach Hause, I'm not able, I'm not willing, I want to go home." Went to Bundeswehr for a 4-year contract and made a lot of money driving trucks in Kosovo. He joined the military to get away from our small town. When I joined later I ran into him and found out he became a sniper. This tiny pothead spaz was one of the calmest and lethal people I had ever met. I don't know what they do to snipers, but every ex-sniper I've ever met was quiet, calm, and absolutely radiated "I can kill everyone in this room." Like the Punisher, the version with John Travolta. He's dead. Killed himself after getting hopped up on M and taking hostages at a motel. I'm sorry your life turned out that way, Joey. You used to be a real good guy. Most of the class clowns I knew are either working construction, crap retail jobs or in a band. There was one that ended up serving 4 years on an involuntary manslaughter charge. First year out of high school, after a kid he sold stolen cancer meds to ended up dying. Dude got into super gym bro mode, found Jesus and did his time and went hard right Republican. There are two that I remember. One is a comedian in Chicago, the other hanged himself about a month after graduation. I'm still not sure if it was a suicide or a choking game accident, but it was shocking and tragic either way. Hanged himself. Our class clown dropped out halfway through senior year, spent some time in juvie detention center. I'm still not sure what he did. Spent the next 15 or so years drinking himself down the tubes, married twice and 5 kids. 12 years ago got sober and is doing relatively good now with his own home decor business that another classmate funded to get him on his feet. Turns out his father was abusive to him and his mom in the early days, and that's probably what sent him down the path he had to suffer. Our class still considers him just a big part of it despite him not finishing with us. Many of us were there all through K-12, and he is always invited to reunions and such. He makes hilarious videos for a county-wide radio station. A few of them have gone legitimately viral. He was always a genuinely good guy. I'm really happy he is doing well. The class clown from the year ahead of me is now a stand-up comic. His name is Dan Natterman. He is awesome. Check him out. He used to let us in an a cappella version of New York, but rewritten to be about our high school's brilliant but scary, ogre-like AP English teacher, Doc White. He was homeless and living in the forest when he got arrested for stealing. Then he escaped custody, stole a car, and was the subject of a manhunt in my town. At least in prison he has somewhere to sleep, though. Might have been his plan. Funniest guy that I had ever known. He had an amazing capacity to engage anyone and make them a friend, regardless of their social status in high school. He was really one of those guys that everyone liked. I was pretty shy and introverted, but he always went out of his way to draw me into the crowd. I don't have a funny story or memory that from high school that doesn't take me back to him. He was brilliant. I have no doubt that he could have done anything he wanted to in life. We were convinced that he would have been the greatest talk show host ever. YouTube would have made him a celebrity. I am sure of that. He didn't make it long enough to ever hear of YouTube though. He never channeled that beautiful energy, and instead died a tragic figure. He died in his sleep at 19, shunning any path with potential for low-paying jobs and drugs. Stay away from the hard crap, kids. It's only there to put out the bright lights. Went to a top 10 school in the world. Got his CPA and masters at the age of 24. Works at a big 4 firm. Does a lot of blow. He's doing pretty well. Less of a class clown but more of an obnoxious crap who constantly shouted crap in the middle of class. I've told this story many times so I'll make it a bit shorter this time. My teacher's sister died in a car crash fire, and about a week or so later this kid got pee at the teacher and said, "I hope you die in a fire like your B sister." She lost her crap and we never saw her again. He got suspended and shunned, then moved to a new school, and IDK what happened to him after that, but hopefully he's gotten his crap together. My cousin, class clown, Bible thumper freestyle rapper, got married 1 year after HS to a smoking babe, while he himself is overweight and grotesque. She was going to school until he proposed. She moved in with him in a crappy apartment and now they both work at his church. In the nicest way possible, you sound incredibly jealous. As a little bit of background, I'm a senior in high school, and I hadn't seen this boy since 8th grade. He was the epitome of the middle school class clown when I knew him. He made fun of me a lot, and by the time we went on to high school I was so glad to get away from him and his friends. After I pulled into my driveway about 7 or 8 months ago, I saw a guy about my age, maybe 18 or 19, walking down the street. He looked pretty filthy, with a plastic grocery bag filled with what looked like clothes, and baggy basketball shorts and a shirt on. Something about him looked familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it. He looked me in the eyes as I got out and he passed quickly, and then it clicked. I called his name out, and he turned really slowly. We started talking, and come to find out he had dropped out of high school as a sophomore. A few months back, he got kicked out by his parents for his drug use. Not just marijuana, I'm talking heavy drugs. As a 17-year-old, he was now homeless, couch surfing with friends until they got tired of him and kicked him out too. He told me he had recognized me instantly and was too ashamed to say anything. We both broke down crying and hugged for a while. I told him to try reaching out to his parents again, to start praying. I'm not religious, but I think everyone could use a little faith. I gave him my number, told him to call me if he needs anything, and didn't see him again since. But there is a happy ending to the story. He called me about 2 months ago from his mother's phone. He said he was sober. His parents had let him move back in, and he was in the process of getting his GED. He told me he wouldn't be where he is now if him and I hadn't talked that day. I'm very happy he's doing well. Everyone deserves a second chance. You are a good person. He's actually a character actor in Hollywood. He's been in lots of commercials and some TV shows as a comedic relief one-off character. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of the bigger ones he's done. He was the kind of guy who did ridiculous crap in high school at the risk of his own safety, and oftentimes at the risk of getting expelled. Teachers and administrators hated him, and I'm not even sure if he graduated. He seems to do alright now though. It's me. Started and didn't finish 2 universities. But I have a quite good job in starting my business. Been together with my GF for almost 7 years now, so things are not very bad. I stopped sports and became overweight, went from 70 to 100 kg. This opened up the realm of fat jokes, so I can't complain. Dead. I don't know all the details, but the short version is he took a job in the Middle East doing something that involved supplying something to the armed forces. He was supposed to go to a different city that was a long way off from where he was. He had a military escort, but they were going too slow for his tastes, so he ditched them and hit an IED Saint about 90 miles per hour further down the road. I think it was me, or at least, I had that reputation for a while. I was also voted boy most likely to succeed my senior year. Jokes on them. I dropped out of college, make crap money at a call center, and I'm a girl now. B. Wow, they were either totally wrong or you decided to just completely shun the label they gave you. Former class clown of 2009 here. I settled down, had kids, and they think I am hilarious. Have had many HS friends tell me I've lost my humor. I guess it was part of growing up for me. My husband still thinks I'm funny, so I'm good. I was voted funniest in middle school and high school, so I guess that may have been me. I do see myself as humorous, but may have been using it as a cover up for being a closeted gay dude. Once I came out towards the end of college, I was able to be funny and it not be so much of a cover up of myself. I'm 28 now and work in marketing advertisement sales, and it's helpful in bringing in new clients and closing deals. Our class clown was actually a pair of twins. They would pull some of the best light-hearted pranks. They even quit school before graduation to open their own joke shop. It became very successful in a short amount of time. Unfortunately, a really bad gang rolled into town and started threatening everyone. Even after all the pranks they had pulled, they were determined to stand up to the gang. After all the dust had settled from that, I found out that one of them had been killed. R.I.P. Fred Weasley. Okay, I'll own up to it. You had me going up until the last sentence. Wags finger. That would be me. I am an accountant with a master's and live an incredibly mundane and boring life. Who would have thought? I was the class clown as well. Also an accountant. No masters though. He got addicted to heroin. While high, he fell down some stairs, passing out, and landed with his legs folded up in some weird way, cutting off the circulation. Don't know how long he lay there, but he woke up at the hospital with his legs gone. He's me. Got my last credits to graduate on graduation day. Mostly bounced around jobs. Meat cutter. Pretty much every job you can have at Toys R Us. Same with Sam's Club. And now I'm working at a liquor store. Not the best success story, but I love my job now. He got into drugs, got in with the wrong crew and was killed, chopped up and put in a barrel full of cement, then thrown off the town wharf. I used to swim off that wharf. Eerie, not so funny. Elected class clown circa 2006. Left the south and moved up to the northeast for grad school work. Realized I'm a lesbian, and in retrospect I think I joked around a lot because I knew I was different and felt really out of place. Well, not my class, but the grade that graduated before me had a chick class clown that was kinda the cool drama kid that made everyone laugh and was super talented and funny. She is now on a TV show and voicing a new Disney character. The class clown from my grade owns a head shop and he is a pretty good and well-known DJ in the city. My so and I saw him a few days ago and he was just cracking us up even more than back in high school. My city produces class clowns that go on to stardom. He's made a lucrative career out of selling weed. He's a sales rep for one of the largest medical marijuana growers in Canada. Ours was a homeless street musician, drug addict for a couple years till he somehow got into writing composing music for video games. Now he makes 6 figures and has a nice house, but the rumors are he is still an addict, loves H. He went to jail for selling C, which I really wish he would have stayed there because he was an absolute piece of crap. He was the kid who borrowed your copy of NBA Jam and never gave it back. I ended up having to call his house early one morning to get a hold of his mother and rat him out to get it back. If you're out there, Jose, frick you. When we were all in college, all your former classmates laughed at your mugshot online. Then there was the other kid down the street. He was a huge class clown. He borrowed my copy of Descent and gave back some demo version. I really should have never let my friends borrow things. Anyway, this kid amounted to jack crap as well. We both got into the computer industry, except years later when I became very successful and he was barely scraping by. He contacted me online and said that since he introduced me to my career, that I owed him a percentage of my salary, because otherwise I would be nothing without him and his help. So frick you too, Ben. Both of you dongs amounted to nothing. Enjoy those video games you stole from me, my gift at this point. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.